guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name's Monica, and in today's video, I'm gonna go through my reading wrap up. So in April, I wrote 28 books. I think I did a really good job. I did 27 audiobooks though, and one ebook. So, and the ebook was an ARC. So I kind of need to do better on that. But for my star rating breakdown, I had 8 5 stars, 4 4.5 stars, 9 4 stars, 2 3.5 stars, 1 3 stars, 1 not rated, 2 DNFs, and 1 reread, which is really great. So for my genre breakdown, I had 2 historical fictions. They were not romances. The rest were romances though. For my breakdown on my subgenres, I had 2 historical romances, 11 paranormal romances, 8 contemporary romances, 2 fantasies, and 2 romantic suspenses. So that's pretty good. So I'm filming this on April 28th because there's some new releases that are coming out very soon. One of them's coming out May 2nd, and I got an ARC of it, and I would like you guys to at least consider reading this because I gave it 5 stars. I think it was fantastic, but I haven't talked about it yet, but I made an Instagram post about it, and it's called Here for the Cake by Jennifer Milliken. I have never read her before. I saw this. I loved the cover. I thought the cover was kind of fun, and it just had all these beachy vibes, and I was like, I'm going to the beach in May, and I was like just sort of FOMOing over the beach. So I was like, didn't really know what it was about, knew it was a romance, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just, never heard of her, I'm gonna give it a chance. So I requested the audio ARC, right? And honestly, I'm so glad I did, because I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And sometimes that can be a good thing or a bad thing, but in this case, it was a really good thing. This one is about Paisley and Klein. So Paisley and Klein met years ago in college. They were in a creative writing class together, and Klein took a red pen to her paper, and it effectively made them frenemies. Well, if I can talk, they were frenemies. Anyway, Klein pined for her. I mean, he is such a pining hero. He really, really, really liked her, okay? And when he realized that it was her paper that he had done that to, because he was trying to impress their professor, he was like, oh crap, because he didn't mean to do it to her paper, because he wasn't trying to be mean to her, because he really wanted to date her, because they had a kiss, and it was one of the worst first kiss ever. Like, it was a bad first kiss. And so she's like, I don't like you, stay away from me. She goes on to date this guy named Shane, and her and Shane break up. This is all like water on the bridge, because we start when she is about to host a bridal shower for her sister. Her sister is marrying her ex-boyfriend Shane, who was her college sweetheart, what she met with Klein. Anyway, when Paisley hosts this bachelorette party for her sister, she goes to the bar that Klein is bartending at, because Klein is a struggling writer. He has no social media whatsoever, because he's like, he thinks it's stupid, okay? And Paisley now owns her own company who does social media marketing. She's really, really good at her job at this point, and she has a strained relationship with her dad and everything for stuff. Anyway, so there's a lot of family drama going on here. They have the best nicknames in this book. Her sister actually thinks he's a stripper at one point on this bachelorette party, and he's like, no, I'm not. Anyway, Klein and Paisley get into a contract with each other. It's a mutually beneficial contract where they will fake date. One of her employees, who's her friend, who is fantastic. I love the side characters. Like, every character in here has a purpose. They are well thought out, well written, and well developed. She ends up like saying, I'm gonna kill you with boiling water in your ear if you hurt my friend. And I'm just like, that's scary. Anyhow, she's like, we are going to document this fake dating on your social, because nobody's going to see it who's at this wedding, because they have to fly from Arizona to the Outer Banks. And so he still has these feelings for her because he's never quite gotten over his crush over on Paisley. So he's like, okay, so he's going to be her fake date for the week, because it's a whole week event in North Carolina, and she's going to market him as a writer and to help him gain traction so he can get an agent and be able to get his book published, right? So that's the setup. They have the one bed trope. He is so much a Cinderella hero. He's very possessive over her. The banter is top notch. Like I said, they have the best nicknames for each other. There's the beach vibes because they're going out on the beach. They're having all the stuff. You have the wedding vibes of what's going on. And of course you have the family drama because her sister is marrying her ex and asking her to be the maid of honor. I mean, who does that? Like, really, who does that? It's against it's against human decency to do that. But anyhow, there's so many sweet little romantic moments as they navigate through all these family dysfunctional shenanigans that's going on in her family. It's really funny. I just loved the way the characters developed from the very start to the very ending. It's angsty, it's messy. There is no third act breakup. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. This book really made me smile, and I couldn't put it down. So I highly recommend it. It's coming out May 2nd. One of the reasons why it's called Here for the Cake, because he's like, yeah, I'm just going for the cake. And I just loved it. So I do recommend it. It's a really good one. Another arc that I did get, I was kind of surprised I got it actually, was Chasing Wild by Kristen Proby. This is book 2 in the Wilds of Montana series. This is following all the Wild brothers, or the Wild family. This is Chase Wild and Summer Quinn. This one comes out May 9th. And I also gave this one 5 stars. The first one I liked a lot, but I didn't love. This one I loved. This one is definitely a small town, Montana. You have that feel. You have the cast of characters that make it feel small town, and the hero definitely falls first. See, Summer is from a family of rich people who are very much politicians. They're in Helena, Montana, and they want her to be like the next governor of Montana, or at least a politician's wife, okay? And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. The prologue starts off with her finding her boyfriend 5 years prior, doing stuff, and she just walks out of her life. Chase is very much a protective hero over Summer, and he is a cop, but he's also a cowboy because their family owns a ranch. This is very much friends to lovers, because when she gets into town 5 years after she meets, because the prologue sets up that she leaves she's like, I'm not happy, I'm leaving my life, and she does, and she just walks out of her life. And we jump 5 years to the start of the story, and Summer is happy 5 years later, is a flower shop owner. She's all sunshiny. She's she's very, very busy because it's a successful flower shop. She's very creative in her field. And so she's very much a very successful businesswoman. And then you have the found family feeling, but she also has her girl squad, and her girl squad is fantastic. They're not obnoxious, but it starts on the 4th of July. She has a rescue dog named Lily, and Lily is having a really hard time with the 4th of July fireworks, where she's like freaked out. And then everything settles down, and then someone tries to break into her house, and Chase is called out there. And so he's like, I'm going to make sure that you're safe. He sets up security cameras and a whole security thing for her at her house and at her flower shop for her. And they've been circling around each other for 5 years. She wasn't ready to date when she got into town, so they stayed friends, and now she's ready, and they slowly, and it's really well developed the way they become friends to lovers. Again, he's not pining for her, waiting to be with her. She just wasn't ready for him. There's another guy who wants her, but wants her for the wrong reasons, and she knows it, and she's like, yeah, I'm not interested in that dude. And that's really the only real other man drama, because there's no other woman drama. That's the only other man drama in this, because the guy's kind of like, he wants her for her family connections, and she's like, no, I don't. She never was interested in him, and she kept saying that to him. And then we met Ryan, who is Chase's brother, in book 1 as well, and you got to see the couple from book 1 get married, which was fantastic. But also we meet Jake, and he is a he's a teenager who is in a foster care situation, and it's not good. And Ryan is Chase's brother, and Chase has Jake go to work on Ryan's ranch, and there's this whole setup. And so that is the darker part, is what happens to Jake. Trigger warning for and I did not put this in my review. I need to go put this in my review on Goodreads. So thank you, Monica, for reminding me. Thank you, ADHD, as well. Trigger warning for child abuse, because it's on page where his foster father is hitting him and punching him, okay? So that is really the darkest part of this book. And Chase and Ryan come in and stop him from doing that, because Jake stops his foster father from trying to essay his foster mother, and they get him out of there. So, and that sets up the next book. But but that part does not take away from the romance. It does not take away from the little romantic moments where Chase is bringing her lunch, and is bonding with her dog, and they're doing things together, and they've already have their friendship set up, so you're not seeing all that set up, but you know it's there. The chemistry is good, the character development's there. It's just really well done. The spice level is where I expect it to be for Kristen Proby. So I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. It is exactly what I wanted out of this book. There's a bit of a suspense plot in this, which actually makes perfect sense to the way the plot unfolded in this book. So I absolutely enjoyed it, and I gave 5 stars. And that one comes out on May 9th. So those are my 2 arcs. I made a video of different new releases, if they're worth it or not. I'll link it down below. One of the books that were on there was Why I Love by Elsie Silver. I gave it 5 stars. It was everything I needed. And the Elsie Silver book, I felt like she was back after Hopeless. I mean, Rosie and Ford was just perfect. And it was a really, really good slow burn. I also had on that one, also on that video, I talked about Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I gave that book 5 stars. That one was fantastic. Love that book. And the last book that was in that video that I did give 5 stars was Fractured Souls. This is book 6 in the Perfectly Imperfect series by Neva Al-Taj. Trigger warning for rape on page, as well as sex trafficking and PTSD. The PTSD rep was so good in this one. This is a mafia romance, but it was done so well, and I highly, highly recommend this one. If you haven't read this one, what are you doing? This one is fantastic. This one was Pavel and Asa, I think her name was, and she was trafficked from New York to Chicago, and she was a mafia princess, which was kind of interesting that a mafia princess would have been sex trafficked. Anyhow, yeah, that one had some pretty heavy topics, but it was done very well. I highly recommend that one. I gave that one 5 stars. So I will link that down below if you want to hear all my full thoughts on that one. But another 5 star that I had this month was To Hello Stranger by Lisa Kleypas. This is, I don't know what book this is in the Ravenel series. Let me look. Oh, it's book 4. This is the last Ravenel book I had. And I had this on my Gosh, what was it? The historical romances I wanted to read in 2024, just because I wanted to finish the Ravenel series. I was not interested in this book, to be completely honest, because I've heard not the best things about this book. And I was like, okay, so I don't know why people did not like this book, but I don't know. So I haven't heard the best things about this book. But I went in there and I was like, oh my gosh, this is darker than a lot of other Lisa Kleypas books. Maybe that's why, because you got Ethan Ransom, who was a police inspector. He's also the illegitimate son of the old Earl Ravenel Earl, who was kind of a dick. Well, kind of, he was a dick. Anyway, and he hates all the Ravenels. Then you have Dr. Garrett Gibson, who works for the Winterbourne, Mr. Winterbourne, for his company. I love her, okay? She's like people don't, but they don't want her because they don't want to be with her because she's a doctor, but they don't want her services because she's a female. Her father did not know what to do with her, so she's such a conundrum in her life at this time, because this is Victorian England. Except Ethan Ransom knew what to do with her, and there was so much caretaking on both sides in this. I loved it. Like, he protected her, she protected him, to the point where I was somewhat concerned with her mental health a little bit. There's a couple scenes, but then you see Wes Ravenel and what he did to protect Ethan and to protect Dr. Garrett. And I'm like, so good. And then you have the outer plot of all the spies and the government and stuff, where Ethan is trying to figure out who's who and what they're doing and all this stuff. Loved it. Loved this book. I was sitting on this one because I didn't think I was going to like it, because people were saying, no, this is not the best Ravenel one. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. It was so good. I miss Lisa Kleypas. I want her to write more stuff. So I highly recommend this one. This one's definitely a darker historical romance. So absolutely, if you're going to read something that's a little darker for the historical romance readathon, pick up Hello Stranger. I recommend it. And this is the last book that I'm going to talk about that I really wasn't absolutely going to read. Like, I sort of wrote off Emily Henry. I was like, I'm not reading Emily Henry anymore. I'm done with Emily Henry. But then everybody was saying, you got to read Funny Story, because it was really, really good. And then I heard the premise where it was about 2 people whose significant others left them. Like, Daphne's fiance at his bachelor party slept with his best friend, Petra, and then came in and said, like, oh, I've always was in love with her, and so you need to move out of my house, and we're not getting married. She's like, and she had uprooted her life and moved to Michigan to be with her fiance. So she ends up moving in with Miles, who was Petra's boyfriend, right? But Daphne and Miles are very broken characters, because they both had some pretty traumatic childhoods. They started off where they're just sort of staying out of each other's way, and then they become friends, and then they started fake dating to make their exes jealous, which actually worked, funny enough. They had this bond that developed into a slow burn romance that ended up being into true love. So her fiance really did her a solid, because she not only found the love of her life, but she ended up finding a best friend and her coworker Ashley that she would have never found if her fiance didn't do what he did. So this one, they had to learn to trust themselves and each other. And it was just so well done. The character, it was angsty, it was messy. There was a lot of character growth and development in this book. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I really like this one. And I highly recommend this one. This one I think is the best one of them all so far. Anyhow, So those are just some of my highlights from the month of April. Let me know down below what was your favorite read for in the month of April. I would love to know. And if you made it this far in this video, please leave me blueberries because I'm wearing a blue shirt and I don't want to do a blue heart. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.